This is the story, the fantastically true story of Herbert A. Philbrick, who for 9 frightening years did lead 3 lives. Average citizen, high-level member of the Communist Party, and counter-spy for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For obvious reasons, the names, dates, and places have been changed, but the story is based on fact. This week's story concerns a communist sabotage plot to destroy key industrial communications and military targets. It is evident that I'm to be given a new assignment. What this assignment will be is, of course, unknown to me at this time. If it's routine, I'll include it in tomorrow's report. If it's important, I'll contact you at once. My present orders merely call for me to report to a residence at 510 Meakin Street.
Comrade Martha, Comrade Gustav, Comrade Herbert. Sit down. Before we discuss the subject which brings us together this afternoon, I would like to say...
Comrade Manning. George Manning to the outside world. What's he doing here? What kind of a group is this? Comrade George is strictly high level. Comrade Martha, she's a new one. So is Comrade Gustav. Pay strict attention, Philbrick. Don't miss a word of this.
Not only is your loyalty to the party a matter of record,
to be added to the earlier report. The meeting specified I met 3 comrades of evident importance and prestige. George Manning, whom I'm sure you know.
Comrade Martha, a young and very attractive brunette. And Comrade Gustav, slightly Teutonic. Looks like the strong-arm type. We were advised our mission is to be important, but we're not given any details. Perhaps the most important item is that we're getting all of our information through contacts, and we ought to be trailed at all times. FBI Special Agent Henderson talking.
Fish must feel like when they're swimming around in a glass tank. More people have been watching me than watch the World Series. There's your man, Philbrick. The old game of drop the handkerchief with a new interpretation. It'd be wonderful to go home and take some pictures of what's in this envelope, but I'm afraid that might result in Mrs. Philbrick becoming a widow very early in life.
While we talk for a minute.
Henderson, I should have known.
You'll be safe here for about 30 seconds. The commie that's following you is parked outside of the lot in a 2-tone green jog.
There's an envelope in my right-hand pocket. Take a look at it.
You drew a blank, Herb.
What do you mean?
Nothing in that envelope except a blank piece of paper.
Now, what do you suppose that means?
I don't know for sure. Could mean that the contact doesn't have any news for you.
Well, if the other contacts have been doing their jobs, we ought to have a meeting pretty quick.
You better get going. You want to keep 2-tone Tommy waiting. Keep us posted if you can.
Right. future meant exactly that, didn't it, Philbrick? Here's the meeting that may tell the story of the blank paper.
Sit down. You've all been in contact with the messenger, have you not?
I have.
So have I.
Mm-hmm. I also received a package which may throw a little light on the subject. Comrade Gustav, open the envelope delivered by your contact.
Map IG-17.
Map I. Now, G 17. Location is 12th and Pine.
Number 22.
22. A defense plant. Details?
A structural weakness brought to light by a careful study of the original blueprints indicates as follows.
Yes, just a moment. As follows. All right, go ahead.
The collapse of the second and fourth upright of the north wall would place a strain on the first and third, which, due to the structural weakness, they could not support.
Could not support. And the recommendation?
30 pounds of dynamite.
30 pounds?
30 pounds of dynamite or its equivalent. Of course, a means of entry should already be established by an on-the-spot comrade. This would reduce the entire wing to a state of confusion, which would take weeks to repair.
I know. Yes, but what about the balance of the plant?
With this wing immobilized, the balance of the plant could not operate.
All right. Anything else?
No, that is all.
All right. Comrade Martha.
Map U.
Map U. Hey.
427.
427. Location seems to be open country.
Probably correct. Number 90.
90. Yes. 90. Oh, yes. Yes, a fuel line. Details?
At this point, the installation crew encountered a shelf of very hard rock, approximately 3.5 feet below the surface.
Below the surface. Yes?
The main object where the pipe was laid was speed, so it was placed on top of the rock and where it can be easily severed and interrupt the flow of fuel for days. Why is it that someone of this obvious stupidity be allowed to do such important work?
What do you mean?
Well, he states that to sever the pipeline would interrupt the flow of fuel for days, when any child knows that all utilities, gas, electricity, water, telephone, would find a break in their lines like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll get a message through on that report. What are your recommendations?
Blow out at least 200 feet of pipe. Probably should be closer to 300.
Getting an earful, aren't you, Philbrick? Now you begin to see what it's all about. Now you know what the comrades are planning.
Now, Comrade Herbert.
Oh.
There must be some mistake, comrade. This is nothing but a blank sheet of paper.
Don't be alarmed, comrade. Sometimes a blank piece of paper can mean a great deal.
I wonder what it means in this case.
Let's assume that it means nothing, and therefore is no basis for worry. Any other business? Comrade Herb, any suggestions?
None that I can think of.
Oh, come. Don't be afraid to express your ideas. You might be able to suggest some better weapon for use in some of these cases.
My weapon is words, comrade. When I'm given the opportunity, I can use them with considerable effect. I don't know anything about physical destruction, but I do know that words have been successfully used to build up many a capitalistic empire. Words could be used equally well to tear them down. And you now own a set of words that will be music to Mr. Henderson's ears, Philbrick. Just music to his ears. Philbrick, you better give out with a little hope that Henderson knows what he's doing. With Two-Tone Tommy on your trail, this could be dangerous. Make it quick.
What gives, Herb?
We're making 4 maps of the city. One for utilities, one for communications, one for industrial installations, and one for military targets. And we're planning and noting down the best ways for destroying each installation.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
How long have they been working on it?
Probably a long time. They tried to give me the impression it's a newly formed group, but it isn't.
It certainly isn't. We checked on Comrade Martha, and she doesn't stack up very well.
I don't know. In one way, she stacks up pretty well.
Huh?
She's real pretty.
And just as vicious as she is pretty. She used to work for the telephone company and is an expert in communications.
What about Comrade Gustav?
He's a brilliant man. Former engineer, an expert in demolition in the Army.
Now, to get back to that blank piece of paper, nobody was in the least surprised when I took it out of the envelope.
I think that means you're going to be the courier. Taking it back down to 2.
Yeah. Me, the courier, huh? Yeah, that'd figure. Highly respected young advertising executive. Who'd ever expect him to be carrying communist plans around to blow everything up?
Yeah, all we got to figure is how we can get our hands on those plans as soon as they're completed. That's without the communists knowing that we've seen them.
Naturally.
Those plans in our hands, the weak places that they've found, can be strengthened. The points of attack can be defended, if and when they start their fancy work.
And when do you think they'll start?
I don't know. It could be tomorrow, next week, or next year. We've always got to keep one jump ahead of them.
What's our next jump?
I don't know. Keep in touch, Herb. Oh, here's your alibi. Up on the 6th floor, you talked to a Mr. Harris. This is a new advertising campaign. Looks like you got yourself a new client, Herb.
A new client? That I could use. Let's think a little bit about advertising today, Philbrick. In between the communists and the FBI, you have to make a living. And Philbrick speaking.
Mr. Philbrick?
Yes?
In your office, do you have such a thing as a presentation case?
Well, yes, I certainly do.
Well, Aunt Mabel is dead. Bring one at 3 this afternoon.
Presentation case. Something to carry the maps in. Henderson is right. I am to be the courier. Carol. Carol. Oh, I'm glad somebody has time for lunch. Carol, on my desk you'll find a presentation case. I want you to have it wrapped and have it sent over to Mr. Thompson at the Athletic Club. Call him at Melrose 29814 first and tell him to pick it up there. It's important. That's all.
Accounts for all known sources of water supplies, power lines, conduits, and cables. Comment heard. May I have the presentation case?
Oh, so you got the case. Good. Keep your eye on the house. I'm carrying a duplicate of this case. The maps are inside. I'll kick my stoplight twice. If anyone else has the maps, I will flash it once for Manning, and 3 for Gustav, and 4 for Martha. If anybody else has the maps, we'll stumble when I leave the building.
The contents of this envelope will give the courier his or her instructions. Comrade Herb will carry the maps. Your instructions are contained in that envelope. I don't have to warn you of the vital importance of the safe delivery of this package to its destination.
Oh, no, comrade. No, I'm aware of the importance.
This package represents many months of intensive work. Work carried on by hundreds of our comrades. As you value your life, comrade, see that nothing happens to that package.
Right. Well, I see the instructions are not to be opened till I get in the car.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Here he comes. He's got the case. He's got the plans, too. What's the matter with him? Why didn't he get started?
Turn south on Parkway Drive, pull up and park at the third stop sign. Wait there exactly 4 minutes, then drive 10 miles straight ahead, and at the intersection of 5th and Dawson, you will be contacted by Comrade Maughan, who will identify himself by calling you Sonny. Sonny. All right, Philbrick, you've done your part. Now it's up to Henderson.
Goes. Come on, we'll go around the block and pick him up at the next corner. What's the matter with you, Bob? Don't you know how to drive a car?
Look, I'm sorry, mister.
Maybe you'd like to get out of that car and tell me how sorry you really are.
You've got 4 minutes and 10 miles straight ahead to get that back to me, or I'm really sunk.
Don't worry, the camera's set up in the truck. We'll make it. And next time, watch where you're going, Bob.
Yeah, okay.
All right, start photographing.
Better work fast, Henderson, old boy. Exactly 4 minutes, the instructions said. Now, I wonder why.
I'm Comrade Maughan. You're Sonny?
That's right.
Well, we'll be on our way.
You're a little early, aren't you, comrade?
I am. I was to contact you 10 miles down the road.
Well, then what's the idea? My orders.
Your orders, comrade, are to take orders from me. Take the road to the right. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get going.
My orders are to go straight down this road 10 miles.
Your orders are to take orders from me.
Very well, comrade. You should have known they'd try something like this. And the truck driving in the opposite direction, getting farther away every minute. You with a case stuffed with paper. What's going to happen when they open the case, Philbrick? Your time's about up. Only 1 more mile to go. Think of something. It's time you need. Time. If you can find some way to gain time. Engine trouble. Gas. Not a chance.
It's a police car. Pull down this lane and let them go by.
Looks like they want us to stop.
We haven't broken any law.
Stop, please.
We were driving slowly and on the right side of the road. What's wrong?
There was a holdup in town about an hour ago. This car and you two men answer the description of the getaway car. I'm sure you won't mind if we check. There was a large amount of negotiable bonds stolen. I should say just about enough to fit comfortably in that case. What's in that case?
Just some papers, some private papers.
Shall we open it and look? Then if what you say is true, you can be on your way.
Now's your chance, Philbrick. Tell the policemen the truth. They'll arrest this man and give you protection. Tell them. Well, the fact of the matter is, officer, the contents of that case are no concern of yours. We're not criminals and we're not hold-up men. We're not required to open that case at your request. We're citizens of the United States. Yeah, and the Constitution of the United States guarantees us freedom of speech, freedom of movement. I protest.
In that case, we'll step down to the station and let the lieutenant open it.
That's telling him, Philbrick. Why do you do it? You must be out of your mind.
This is a regular procedure, isn't it?
If questioning suspects in the case of a violent crime is a regular procedure, then we're wrong. We'll go down to the station and find out. Mike, get in the back of that car and wait.
This is not the delay you were looking for. As soon as they open the case, the comrade will see the plans are not there.
Hello? This is Jameson. We picked up a couple of men that could have been mixed up in that holdup. What's that? You got the hold-up car and the men? Well, I'll be darned. Never mind. Goodbye. We owe you gentlemen an apology. The hold-up men have been caught. Awfully sorry, but you know how it is. We've got to check all angles.
Sure, officer. I know how it is.
Yes, I know just how it is.
Come in.
Comrade, give this gentleman the case now.
Oh, of course.
You're late. You've almost made me miss my plane. What happened?
Well, we ran into a couple of policemen. They thought we were criminals.
You know the party doesn't accept any alibis or excuses.
I'm sorry. Wouldn't you save time if you checked that on the way to the airport?
Perhaps. But we'll check it now. Okay.
How do you do it, Henderson? How do you keep on doing it? Pulling rabbits out of hats, pulling secret plans out of empty briefcases.
How'd it go?
Fine, just fine.
No trouble.
Not a bit. We did just as you asked us to. I switched the case when I went back to the car to call in. What'll I do with this?
I'll take it. Keep it for a friend of mine. Someday he may want to show it to his grandchildren. Thanks, officer.
Take it easy.
Authorities, the FBI was able to intercept, to photograph, and thereby to neutralize months of potentially dangerous communist activities. Next week, we'll bring you another story from the files of Herbert A. Philbrick, citizen, communist, counter spy.